This week, the United States Senate met with founders and CEOs of Meta, X, TikTok and Snapchat as they posed questions surrounding children's safety on these social media platforms. This comes after an increase in child exploitation on platforms, resulting in some cases children committing suicide after experiencing various transgressions such as bullying and sexual predators. Let's speak more about these developments and bring matters closer to home as we look at whether South Africa faces similar challenges when it comes to social media safety for children. We are now joined by social media privacy and cybersecurity law expert Diana Schwartz. Diana, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this morning. Let's perhaps start with you giving us an overview of the concerns expressed by the U.S. Senate regarding the safety of children on social media apps.
I think what has really come out from these hearings is that there's a lack of accountability from the social media platforms and the founders. They've repeatedly, found loopholes to, negate their liability, and the Senate is really probing into and forcing them to take accountability, which is much needed in terms of actually making sure that children are safe on the platforms that they use.
But what specific risks do social media apps pose to the safety of children, and why are these concerns significant, and are they significant to South African children as well?
100%, yes. They are very significant to South African children. We have a number of social media cases of child sexual exploitation, pornography, grooming, cyberbullying, and various others that occur online. And the statistics are just growing higher and higher. And many children, as you know, are committing suicide, taking their own lives as a result of these various social media offenses. Children are very vulnerable, and therefore they are easy targets for cyber online predators.
What measures do you believe are most crucial for ensuring the safety of children on social media platforms? Are there any specific guidelines or regulatory frameworks that you would recommend?
Certainly. I think South Africa, we are very well legislated. We have the pieces of legislation in place to criminalize, to take action against these offences. However, the challenges that we face is that there's limited enforcement. So we need more enforcement of the laws that we have in place. So we have pieces of legislation like the Criminal Law Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act, which criminalizes grooming, online child sexual exploitation. We have the Children's Act. We have the Cybercrimes Act. And these pieces of legislation really need to be enforced. So I think in South Africa, we're dealing with a lack of enforcement, and we need our SOPs on the ground. We need all those involved in law enforcement to be more well-versed and trained in how to actually, prosecute these cases and bring these criminals to book.
So, Diana, how dire is the situation for South African children? Are we seeing more and more children exposed to cyber criminality, especially when it comes to sexual offences?
Unfortunately, yes. We are seeing a huge number of online sexual abuse cases, online grooming. It has exponentially increased since COVID, when everybody's lives moved online, and it is increasing more and more. We see child human trafficking taking place, where victims are recruited online and arrangements to meet in place, etc. We even have children being manipulated. We have sextortion, where children are targeted to do self-generated child sexual abuse imagery and extorted with that. We even have parents who are being, extorted for money, where children or nudes of their kids are being put online, or videos, etc.
So, Diana, with these concerns about children's privacy, how can social media platforms then strike a balance between protecting children and preserving their right to free speech and expression?
I think that social media platforms, whilst they do have certain, community standards and rules in place, they really need to invest more and have more people watching out for what's going on online. Because what happens is a lot of these social media platforms, they may flag something, but they allow the content still to be posted, so that needs to stop. And they really need to engage with law enforcement and children and the legislation to make sure that children are protected. Children have the right to freedom of expression, definitely, but like in our Constitution, the rights one right does not trump upon another right. So therefore, their right to freedom of expression should not trump upon their right to safety whilst navigating the online space.
All right, and unfortunately, we need to cut our conversation there. I think one of the most important factors is the contribution of parents and guardians with regards to how these children engage on these social media platforms. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us.